What is the creepiest glitch in the Matrix you've experienced? So, before my husband and I were married we lived separately. He would come over and spend time then leave later at night like 11 or 12. He left one night out my front door which has 3 locks, a lock on the knob, a deadbolt, and what I call a hotel lock. It's a lock that you flip the long piece over onto a short peg and then the door can only be opened a few inches. Well, he left and used his key to lock the knob and deadbolt, but I thought to myself I have to go lock the hotel lock. I come down and it's locked already. Absolutely no way he could have locked it from outside. Not long after 9/11, on a Friday, I got up to go to class and had one of those mornings. Broke a glass getting something to drink, tripped over something going to my car, was late to class due to a wreck on the way there, not me thankfully. While at school we heard about a plane crashing. Something about the wings blowing off. Went to work, went home. The next morning my roommate wakes me asking if I'm skipping class today. After he convinces me it is still Friday I get up and go to class after noticing the glass I broke is not broke. On the way I pass the same wreck in the same spot. All day I wait to hear about the plane but it never happens. Ends up kinda a normal day. The next day they arrest the shoe bomber and I have wondered if someone rewound that day to stop him and somehow I didn't reset with it. A few months before my first car accident I dreamed about it happening. Everything from the sounds to the placement and the smell was the same. Thing is, the girl driving tried to get me to find a different ride because she didn't want to do any extra driving that day, and after the crash I told her about my dream and she said she had the same one the night before and that's why she didn't want to drive. Freaky shit, dude. In college I delivered pizzas to make money. I had a delivery that should have taken about 20 minutes. When I returned to the store the manager asked me what had taken so long. I asked him what he meant and he pointed to the computer showing I had been gone for an hour and 7 minutes. I don't remember delivering the pizza, only turning into the store when I was returning. Before anyone suggests aliens, no, my anus was not sore. I also don't drink or use drugs. 20 years later I still have no idea what happened. 10 years old, in grandma's front yard. She keeps her yard immaculate, award worthy. It's dusk, family get together. Mom says toss me the car keys so I do. My throw is short by finger lengths. I assume they landed in the short grass, but we never found them. That was 30 years ago. The yard has been mowed hundreds of times. The house is still in the family, still well taken care of. No keys, ever. Not especially creepy, but it did used to unnerve me when I was young. When I was little I used to have a Thomas the Tank Engine book with fold out parts and flaps. There was this one part which was like a shed and you could lift a flap to see inside it. Inside was all the usual gardening / shed paraphernalia, but there was also a black cat sat in there. Here's the glitch though, I swear the cat wasn't always there. I used to love that book, but every time I read it, I would get to that page and guess whether the cat would be there or not. Not a clue what that was all about really, but it creeped a young me out. This is late and pretty stupid, but why not? I was once showering, and after about 10 minutes in the shower I hear something ping and hit the floor. I looked down and saw a penny. I was pretty perplexed as you can imagine, but figured whatever, I'll keep it as I imagined it could be good luck. I kept the penny in my wallet for a few years in a zipped side pouch. I never really told anyone because it was kind of pointless to talk a random penny I was superstitious about. So a few years later, while at a music festival, a girl in our tent woke up to a penny in her butt crack. We all laughed it off as having a wild night. However, I remembered the penny I had, and when I looked in the zipped pouch I was shocked to find it was gone. I told my friends and they didn't believe me. I think they threw that penny away too. This one is more silly than creepy, but once when I went with my grandmother to her friend's house, I was on the porch by myself with the grandmother's friend's cat, and the cat looked me right in the eyes and said the word meow. It didn't sound like a cat meowing at all. It sounded very convincingly like a human carefully enunciating the word meow, 2 syllables, in their most thoroughly unconvincing cat voice, like someone intentionally doing a very poor impression of a cat, as a joke. but it was perfectly in time with the movement of the cat's mouth and there was no one else around, so it had to have been the cat saying it. When I was about 15 I was eating some cereal and accidentally dropped my spoon into the kitchen floor. I watched the spoon fall. As it hit the floor, it just vanished into thin air. I was shocked. I thought surely my eyes were playing tricks on me. It must have just bounced away and gone out of sight or something. I spent 30 minutes searching the kitchen for that spoon. I was honestly kind of freaked out. I tried to think of every possible place it could have gone. There weren't many places it could have ended up. I never found it. Just today at the mall I saw at least 10 men with the same bleached haircut in the food court. I think the character generator is broken. I was walking my dog. On his leash there is a little plastic attachment that holds his poop bags. I dropped the leash onto the ground. I heard the plastic hit the ground, but it turns out it ended up back in my hand. Imagine dropping something, hearing and seeing it drop, then somehow it's in your hand, all under a couple seconds. A few nights back I was wide awake in the guest bed at my place and heard quiet footsteps and then my wife say hey gently at the door. It seemed weird, so I got up to see what she wanted and she was fast asleep in bed. Before you ask, I was in a separate bed as I have a cold and have been snoring really loudly. My daughter and I were on the couch one day when she was younger and we heard the sound of popcorn from microwave. It wasn't a constant popping but 1 or 2 pops every 10 seconds or so. Then the entire living room filled with the smell of buttered popcorn. No one was making popcorn. The microwave itself did not smell like popcorn and the smell was only in the living room. I went as far to open the heating vents to see if there was a rogue bag of popcorn in there. If it was just the smell and not the sound or vice versa I would easily explain it away, but it was still one of the strangest events. I was sitting on my porch and had my debit card on the table in front of me. I went inside to get something to drink, patio furniture in sight and a 6-foot privacy fence around the yard. I also lived alone. Went back outside and it was just gone. I searched everywhere, inside and out, but couldn't find it. Nothing was withdrawn from my account so 2 days later I cancelled it and requested a new one. 2 weeks later I went out to sit on the porch. I did this every day and the old card was sitting right there on the table. It just fucking appeared. There was nothing else on the table. It just was gone. And then it wasn't. Was going down the stairs and went past my brother who was coming up the stairs. Said hi and he sort of mumbled back. Got downstairs and walked through to the kitchen, only to find him standing there. WTF. Wasn't all that weird I guess but still. When I was a kid there was this house right before the entrance to my subdivision that was in this super deep valley. I remember calling it the house in the hole and thinking about how much it must have sucked when it rained and how great of a sledding hill the sides would make. Then one day we were passing it and there was no valley. It was at the same level as the road. I asked my mom what happened to the hole and she had no idea what I was talking about. To this day, I no longer live there. I always check when I drive past. I was getting on an airplane and a ginger yelled out for some dude Sebastian at a different gate. When I landed, a different ginger called out for a different Sebastian. A few days ago my wife and I were settling down to watch a movie in the living room. She switches off the light in the room. There is a light switch right above the sofa and we start the film. A few minutes into the film we notice the light is on. It was weird because we didn't notice it switch on, just kinda noticed that it was on, but we have no idea how long it was on for. We both clearly remembered that the light was switched off. It's part of our movie watching setup. We like the cinema experience. It confused the hell out of us both. I'm a security guard at a distribution warehouse. Sometimes I have to work graveyard shift. During this time the only people on the premises is me and a rare truck driver bringing in a late load. Our guard shack is concrete with sliding glass doors on the sides, no locks, and big windows in front and back. Sometimes when I'm the only person on the premises, I'll see a reflection of someone walking past the shack. Every inch of this shack and the yard is covered by security cameras. No one has shown up on the footage when I see these reflections. Long ago when I was kid, my younger brother and me were driving our bikes on the embankment alongside the river and there was a huge dam thingy on the river. I grew up in this town and I never knew we had a dam point. When we got home I told my mother that it was the first time I have seen the dam, and she did not know what I was talking about. Later I returned, there was nothing there. My brother does not remember, but I have seen it as clear as day. I'm sure it was my imagination, but it's strange. I did not dream it, since my brother remembered that we were there. He just doesn't remember the dam. Had a dream of some kid that I had never seen before dancing at a busy party. He was wearing a blue shirt, black pants, had BB hair, and there was a purple strobe light on the wall behind him. Wake up, think to myself, what an odd dream, and carry on with my life. Several years later I was at my cousin's wedding reception, chillin' and hanging out with a different cousin. Music comes on, and we start jumping up and down, and then I realized that I was reliving the dream. Same clothes, same hair, same purple lighting in the background. Poured a freshly boiled water to a glass, walked over to check my ML on the phone for less than 1 minute, I'm very sure, because the same song is still playing. Walked back, the glass of water is room temperature. I might just have had a stroke. Never checked. My partner and I have the same vivid memory of something happening that never happened. We are both convinced that our friend was with us at another friend's wedding, and he fixed the sound system during the reception. Except the friend we remember fixing the sound system was not at the wedding, and does not even know the person who was having the wedding. But we both distinctly remember our friend not only being there, but actually saving the day. We sometimes catch ourselves talking about it, and once praised our friend for saving that wedding, and he was like, what? Who's ex? I wasn't even there. In my childhood, kindergarten in USSR, I distinctly remember the sky going dark for some time, teacher rushing us all inside, then back bright again, unknown time later. My parents denied there was solar eclipse that day. I couldn't find any record of one either, though should check again. I distinctly remember that. I have dreamed of 2 or 3 situations before they actually happened exactly as in my dreams. It can't be a deja vu, because I remember dreaming about it. It wasn't just a feeling of familiarity. Was brushing my teeth with one hand, putting the toothpaste down with my other, and turning on the tap with my third hand. I only noticed it a few moments after. I couldn't piece it together, but they all happened at the same time. When I was little I had a wooden doll crib that rocked that was maybe about 1.5 feet long. I kept it on the other side of my room from where my bed was. I had one of those dreams where you feel like you're falling and it wakes you up. When I woke up the crib was sitting on top of me on my chest and abdomen. I had a dream that Mr. Rogers died. I woke up not thinking much of it, went online like I do every morning, and found out that he had in fact died earlier that morning. There was one morning before school when I randomly thought I haven't heard Hey Ya in a long time. It was a good song though. Just a meaningless whatever while brushing my teeth. I arrive at school and all of my friends have Hey Ya stuck in their heads. They were humming it all day, and when I asked them about it, they said they thought about it that morning. None of us had heard the song recently enough to all be reminded about it.